Good evening, America. Welcome to your Thursday edition of Just the News, No Noise. I'm your host, John Solomon, reporting to you, as always, from Washington, D.C. Big news to share with you tonight. Just the News has filed a complaint with Georgia's Attorney General, Chris Carr, after the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, the one run by Fani Willis, failed to meet the 3-day deadline to respond to an open records request asking for information on the office's contacts with the Biden administration, specifically the Biden White House and the Biden Justice Department. Remember, when we now have evidence in the public that when the case was just about to yield an indictment against President Trump and his cohorts in Georgia, there is a billing record showing that the special prosecutor working for Fani Willis, he met with the White House in Augusta and also apparently in Washington, D.C. We're tracking that. We put a request in several weeks ago for these records. We got crickets back from Fani Willis's team. They're not even returning phone calls. So today we invoked one part of Georgia's great open records law, and that is to get the Attorney General involved. We may also file a lawsuit in the coming days, but important stuff. And we're very lucky to be joined in just a few minutes by Georgia Congressman Barry Loudermilk, who just happens to oversee the great investigation going on into the January 6th committee, the January 6th events, the things we weren't told about the last 3 years. He's going to join us at the top of the show. But first, let me turn things over to my amazing co-host, Amanda Head. She's got a lot more headlines today. Amanda, busy news day for the middle of January, no?
Lord have mercy, between Arizona and Georgia, sex scandals and bribery. Holy smokes, the news cycle is on fire. All right, we have an amazing lineup of guests to follow Chairman Loudermilk. They include Kari Lake, who's going to discuss the latest political drama taking place over there in Arizona, as well as Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who's going to be joining by phone to discuss his state's pushback on the Biden administration's open border policy. So be sure to stick around for all of that coming up throughout the hour. But in some legal news, former Trump advisor Peter Navarro was ordered to pay a $9,500 fine and sentenced to 4 months in prison after defying the January 6th committee's subpoenas. Prosecutors said that he put politics rather than his country first and chose allegiance to former President Trump over the rule of law. Now, this sentence comes at a time when the Select Committee, that very committee, is accused of deleting more than 100 encrypted files days before Republicans took the House majority. I wonder why they would do that. This is another topic of conversation that we're going to discuss with Congressman Loudermilk, but in some quick sports news to briefly lighten the tone of the evening, Jim Harbaugh is going to leave the University of Michigan and head out here to Los Angeles to the NFL to coach the Los Angeles Chargers, not the Rams, the Chargers. Yes, we have 2 NFL teams here. All right, while this move can be seen as somewhat controversial considering the suspensions that Harbaugh went through in his final year with the maize and blue team, it seems somewhat fitting for him to return to California, as he previously served as the quarterback for the team during the 99-2000 year when his team was still based in San Diego. But John, how are you feeling about the news cycle tonight?
Great. There's so much to pursue. I mean, there's scandal, but there's truth, and that's what we always try to get to here in the show. And today, I think we have an opportunity to do just that. We weren't given the full story about January 6th, not the entire time that Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney were in charge of the Democrat-led special January 6th Select Committee. But we've been getting a lot of truth over the last year, and we are getting it because of our next guest. He has relentlessly pursued facts, not fiction, not theories. He's gotten facts. And as a result, we are a lot wiser about what failed, what went right, and what we still don't know about January 6th as a result of the House Administration Subcommittee Chairman for Oversight. He's Georgia Congressman Barry Loudermilk, and he joins us right now. Congressman, great to have you back on the show.
John, Amanda, it's good to be with you again. I kind of feel like I'm part of the staff now. We spend so much time together.
We're going to get you a chair and a bottle of water. You're going to be here soon. Sir, the last time we had you on, you tickled my ear because you said, hey, we are making a request to the White House for documents that we think they got sent over to them from the January 6th committee. It's odd that Congress would try to unload its documents to the White House, a separate branch of government. I know there was a deadline. I think it might have passed earlier this week. Can you tell us, has the White House complied?
Well, they haven't complied yet, but at least they're communicating, which is different than Department of Homeland Security. There were even more documents sent to the Department of Homeland Security that we're trying to get back. They won't even acknowledge the letters I send. At least the White House, as I shared with you before, after a couple letters, they hesitantly or reluctantly did send over the documents, but they were so heavily redacted that they're basically unusable.
Right.
And so our follow-up letter was reemphasizing these are House documents. They are not White House documents. They belong to the House of Representatives, and you need to send them immediately in a full unredacted form. As of yesterday, which was the deadline, we did receive correspondence from them asking for a little more time. I don't know how much time you need to take documents, put them in an envelope, and send them over to the Capitol. I mean, it's that simple. But I am hearing from the staff that we may have received something from the White House to the extent of they may let us come and look at the documents.
So
that's unacceptable.
Yeah,
it's unacceptable. These are House documents. They belong to the House of Representatives, and I expect that we will get them. I believe we're just going to have to go ahead and subpoena and see where that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. The
Yeah,
games are played.
time doesn't change the facts. I don't think he expected you to tire out and just give up. It's kind of remarkable. I wanted to ask you about the nature of what's happening in Atlanta with DA Fani Willis. Unfortunately, Atlanta, like a lot of big cities, has had a history of corruption. I think it was just a few years ago, another DA in the Atlanta area, Dick Donovan, was under fire and I think ultimately resigned from his position. For Fani Willis's part, her relationship with Nathan Wade, why is this important? And I'm not saying criminally, but optics-wise, politically, ethically, why is it such a big problem?
Well, it's a big problem from several angles. One is she's having an affair with the person that she's hiring to investigate the former president of the United States. I mean, there's beyond nepotism. There's this personal relationship going on. As we're finding out now, he had apparently been paid by the White House, was on the salary of the Biden administration, or at least contracted by them to look into this. And we find out that he or she or a group of them was spending time with the Select Committee, January 6th Select Committee staff, going over records. And my interest in this is, what records were they going over? Are they given access to records that we have been denied access to? What is it that they were looking at? I sent a letter to Benny Thompson once we uncovered a letter from Fani Willis to the Select Committee. We found buried in some of our documents to where she was asking access. There were no other correspondence, which raised suspicion. You would expect the Select Committee to respond in writing, saying, "Hey, well, tell us what documents you want. We'll send them," or a list of documents that were provided. There was nothing. So I sent a letter to the former chairman of the Select Committee, Benny Thompson, asking him, "What documents did you provide?" And he told another news outlet that they didn't provide any documents, which was interesting because their Select report said that they did provide documents. And so now he's saying, well, of course we supplied documents. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, I didn't say there was anything wrong with it. I think it's highly suspicious. I just want to know, what did they get? So I can see is there any more documents that have been hidden or deleted or sent away or disposed of in some way that my committee does not have access to.
Yeah, such an important question. I mean, it's not more than a process question, because what you really have now is a triangle, right? You got the White House, a prosecutorial team, and we have to assume maybe the Justice Department also could have had contacts, and then Congress, and they all seem to be working together on something that normally law enforcement and legal standards would say, hey, the prosecutor does their work, the White House stays out of it, we don't do political interference. How far will this go? Will you, we started at the top of the show saying, hey, Just the News has asked the Attorney General to help us get our records. Will there be a request for records from the Fani Willis office with their contacts with Congress and the White House? Will you eventually go request and subpoena if necessary?
We will. Now, that may be in conjunction with my good friend Jim Jordan, who actually, his committee has jurisdiction here.
Right.
I will, to the extent of her engagement with the Select Committee. And so one thing that Speaker Johnson has done is he's empowered us to use all the tools we have available in our toolbox to pursue the truth, get to the truth, subpoena who we need to. He's given the full weight and support of his office behind us, and is even tripled our staff at this point. So his dedication is to get to the truth, as is mine, because American people deserve to know the truth.
Yeah, that's all they want. They just want the facts. Yeah.
Yeah. Congressman, I remember when I first heard about these 100 files that were deleted by the Jan 6 committee before Republicans took control. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't think they're gone. If you can refabricate a hard drive, these have got to be retrievable. And lo and behold, you guys have recovered those files. I know that some of them, or at least I think some of them, were videotaped testimonies and depositions. Were there documents? What was the nature of these 100 files, and why would they delete them?
Well, I don't know that any of them are videos. The problem we have is they're password protected. We know some are documents, some we really can't tell what they are. And, you know, I'm just asking for the passwords. First of all, why were they hidden or deleted? Some of them that were covered were deleted. And interestingly, was the date that they were deleted. Some were deleted on January the 2nd or January the 1st. If you remember, January 3rd was the day that the Republicans officially took over Congress. So literally in the last week, some of those documents were hidden. Some of them were deleted, but we were able to recover them. Some of them weren't password protected, and we found that some were related to the documents that were sent to the White House. This is one of the ways we were tipped off that the White House had documents. And so one of those documents was deleted on January the 1st. And that was around the same time that Benny Thompson sent the letters to the White House. I don't think that's a coincidence. The others are password protected. They're encrypted. We cannot get into them. So I sent Benny Thompson another letter asking him simply, where's the passwords? We need the passwords to these. And in his 3-page response, which mostly was accusing me of being ultra MAGA and just trying to vindicate the president and that I'm part of the crazy right wing, he finally ended saying, I don't know what you're talking about. So either he's not telling us he obviously not giving us the password. Either he's telling us a lie, or he had no idea what his committee was doing over the past 2 years. Somebody knows the passwords, and we're going to keep pursuing till we get the passwords. Now, these documents may turn out to be nothing, but my suspicions are that there is something there, because they're not giving us access to it. Otherwise, they would say, yeah, here's the password. There's nothing to it.
Yeah, it really is remarkable. So I want to turn to another important area of your investigation, Cassidy Hutchinson. Because of your good work, we learned that there was this errata sheet. She changed her testimony. She was her story evolves many different times over 8 months. You sent her lawyer a notice: preserve your documents, be prepared to be questioned again. And then, of course, her other lawyer, who has had his privilege waived by her, Stefan Passantino, he's agreed, I believe, to cooperate. Can you bring us up to speed? Are you getting any sign that you'll get cooperation from Cassidy Hutchinson?
Well, I'm going to use a term that you used earlier, crickets. That's what we're hearing so. But I believe our deadline for the preservation and for them to turn over all of the information requested is tomorrow. So we're waiting, hoping that they don't follow the same path that the White House and DHS is just stalling and ignoring our request, because this is the first time since the Select Committee that we're able to get not only Cassidy Hutchinson, but Stefan Passantino as well, and compare their stories. Because of her waiving her attorney-client privilege, this has opened the door and will help us to get to the truth. Why did she so significantly change her testimony? It also gives us the opportunity to look at her testimony as compared to others, which I believe those White House documents and the Homeland Security documents, we're confident are Secret Service agents. How do those two testimonies line up? These are people that were with Donald Trump who would have been firsthand witnesses to what she claimed he did, the trying to grab the steering wheel or trying to choke a Secret Service agent.
Yeah.
She was not there, but heard him talking about it. These are testimonies by people who are there. And I believe that's probably why we haven't been given access to it, because more than likely it doesn't line up with the predetermined narrative of the select committee.
Yeah. So we got about, go ahead, Amanda, please.
We got about 30 seconds left. Peter Navarro is now going to spend 4 months behind prison. We're defying a January 6th subpoena. Do you think that what you are uncovering, what you are bringing to light, could have any impact on those sentences with respect to commuting or reversing?
Well, it depends on what is in the information that we have. And but the first thing I did was when I saw that news article came out, I sent it over to our team. And my question to them was, if someone defines our subpoena, is the same punishment going to apply to them? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be equal justice across the board? If the White House doesn't respond to our subpoena, this White House, will they be facing the same type of punishment? That'll be interesting to see as we go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Sir, just one quick question, about 30 seconds left. This administration started a full Democratic rule, 2 chambers of Congress and the White House, saying we're going to be the most transparent. They're redacting documents. They're password protecting documents. They're sending them to the White House, and the White House sends them back, and you can't even see what's in them. Have they lived up to their transparency? What message do you want to send to them tonight?
That if you want transparency, just be honest, be open, send the documents, let us look at them. Look, if there is national security information in it, which is what they're claiming because it's the operations of Secret Service and certain White House personnel, then why did you allow National Geographic to embed in the Trump Secret Service and do an entire documentary that's out there for streaming on Amazon Prime? You know, I'm not going to release national security information, but come on, let's be honest. What is it that you're trying to hide?
Yeah, well, you have given us more facts in the last 6 months than we got in the last 3.5 years, sir. We are so grateful for your time and all the efforts that you have to get the American people the truth. That's all they've been asking for. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, all the drama in Arizona, Kari Lake's going to address it head on right after these commercial messages.
Welcome back, America. Every year, elections seem to become more challenging for many reasons, whether it's because of insider baseball in Washington, D.C., or an occasional lack in fundraising from establishment donors. Both are variables that most candidates can't ignore. But what about a state GOP chairman asking for his leading Republican candidate, who was previously a statewide nominee, to sit out of a political contest in exchange for millions of dollars? Take a listen to this part of a discussion between former Arizona GOP chairman Jeff DeWitt and leading Senate candidate Kari Lake.
Is there a number at which
I can be bought?
not be bought?
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. $1 billion, no. This is not about money. This is about our country.
Yeah. And since that recording was published, DeWitt has resigned as chairman and went on to claim in his resignation letter that Kari's team threatened him with more damaging recordings if he didn't. Doesn't really seem like it doesn't seem like something that an ethical candidate would do, especially one that just refused to be bribed out of an election. But let's dive into the latest. Kari, from what I've seen, you are a courageous woman. You're guided by morals and principles. I think it is heartwarming and refreshing to see someone who is running for office, who is not on the menu. You are not viable. A lot of people might say that that's a Republican issue. I think it's across the board, and it's bearing out in your polling too, right?
Yeah, we're doing really well. I need to tell you, this conversation happened 11 months ago before I jumped into the U.S. Senate race, and a bunch of polls had come out showing I was the only Republican who could win. I'm, of course, an America First Republican. I support President Trump. And I don't believe Jeff did support President Trump at that time. He was behind DeSantis behind the scenes and really didn't want me on the ballot and bringing out the whole MAGA folks here in Arizona. And it was ludicrous to think that I wouldn't do well. All of the polling was showing that nobody could beat me, even in the general against the Democrat. And so they wanted their own handpicked person that they can control. And that's what this is about. They can't control me, they can't buy me, and they can't bribe me. And Washington, D.C. doesn't like that. Jeff should have just resigned after this came out. This is absolutely disgusting. It's about 11 minutes of just unethical, immoral bribery, frankly, bribery. And he should have just resigned and apologized, but he couldn't apologize. He had to lie. Our team never, ever threatened putting out more. Our team never did that. But this is a man who's worried because there's so many tapes like this, I'm sure, out there. We became aware that there were other tapes that somebody else put out of him trying to bribe somebody else. And, you know, this guy just can't help but put his foot in his mouth and say things that are not just inappropriate, but unethical and hinging, frankly, on criminal.
And that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. I mean, it's so shocking to hear that. I mean, I know we know about the days of Huey Long and the backroom deals here in Washington, but this is 2024. These things aren't supposed to happen in America anymore. After this conversation occurred, did you ever consider maybe I should go to the police or prosecutors? This doesn't feel right.
Well, I knew it didn't feel right when he called me that day and said, I'm outside your neighborhood. I'm on my way over. Can I come over? I have to talk to you about something that I can't say on the phone. And I thought the little feels kind of went, okay, this could be a threat. I don't know what this is about. So that's why I recorded the conversation that took place at my dining room table. And he immediately went into trying to bribe me in order to not run for U.S. Senate. And he said some very powerful people back east, you know, you guys just played a very small bit of it, but this goes on for over 10 minutes. And I don't know how you try to explain that away. In his letter, he said, this is just a normal conversation, a business conversation between friends. I don't know. I've got lots of friends, and I know a lot of people in business. This is not a normal business conversation, not a normal friend conversation. And the fact that he thinks that is horrifying. We have to root out corrupt individuals. I don't care if they're in the Republican Party or the Democrat Party. We can't have our politics being run by people like this. So this is the problem. Washington, D.C. hates President Trump. They obviously hate me as well. And frankly, we need to start sending more people to Washington, D.C. that the swamp doesn't like, rather than people that the swamp can control.
Yeah. Carrie, it's probably not wise to ask you to name these people on air, so I won't. But did you find out from Jeff DeWitt who it was who put him up to this? Do you know?
No, I don't. I mean, I have my guesses, but those are guesses. The sad thing is that you could sit and think all day about who it could be. Who are these powerful people back east that he was talking about? And you could probably come up with a list of 300 or 400 people, entities, groups, organizations, lobbyists, consultants. That's how messed up Washington, D.C. is. The list could be endless on who it could be, because this is how they operate. And this is why when we vote for somebody and we get them to D.C. and then we find out they're making votes against the people, against their constituents. For example, look at the border. And when it comes to really important votes, when it comes to spending votes, we look at the Republicans and go, why are they doing this to us? And I think it's because they get there and they get compromised. They do get bribed. They do get blackmailed. And that's a bad thing. That's not how you lead a country. And so we need to get people in there who can't be bought. And that's why I'm running.
Yeah, no, this is such a consequential race in 2024. And you can see from that conversation, other people think so too, just in a much more negative sense. I want to ask about some of the things that DeWitt and his campus said, because he said, I felt set up, but I just heard you say, he impromptu just reached out to you, right?
Showed up, yeah.
Yeah, he just showed up. That doesn't sound like a setup on your part. He also said, oh, you got other tapes. Are there other tapes? Is there anything else you can share?
I don't know. I don't know if there's other tapes. But you know what? It concerns me that he's behaved in a way that he's saying there's other stuff out there.
You didn't make
that's concerning.
You didn't make any more tapes.
No, I haven't made any more tapes. I released this bribery conversation, and he's so worried about the way he's been behaving that he's scared that there's worse stuff out there. That tells you a whole lot. If he's that concerned.
Yeah. Carrie, you mentioned those 300 people or organizations, and I'm thinking to myself, if a name pops in your head that you think is probably engaging in this type of stuff, you're probably right, because you go to the swamp and the swamp becomes a hot tub. But I wanted to ask you, this was 11 months ago, and a lot has happened since then. A lot has happened with respect to your polling, to Donald Trump's polling. We've had 2 primaries where Donald Trump won resoundingly. Yesterday, reportedly a closed-door meeting between Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and other Senate Republicans saying, I think he referred to Donald Trump as the nominee, said illegal immigration is going to be the issue. From 11 months until now, do you think if you had the same conversation with Jeff DeWitt, if he would be singing a different tune?
Yeah, maybe he would have woken up to the fact that he was wrong. I don't know. I don't want to deal with someone unethical like that. This is somebody who shouldn't be anywhere near our party leadership. If we can't be ethical, honest, pro-America Republicans, then I don't think you should be in charge of the party. I do want to say this happened 11 months ago. And the next day I flew out to CPAC and I told the people at CPAC in my speech exactly what happened in that conversation. I didn't name Jeff's name, but I laid it out. And for 11 months now, I have been speaking about this incident. Some people didn't believe me. They said, oh, surely she's, elaborating or kind of embellishing. But no, it did happen. I spoke about it for 11 months. The mainstream media never contacted me and said, hey, what's this about? There's no curiosity into this bribery conversation that I discussed. And now that the tape is out and they know who it is, now they're interested and they're trying to, of course, the fake media wants to take the side of the person who's trying to bribe, which is really sad and unfortunate. But the people understand what's happening here. I, by the way, the reason I released this is I forgot I even had it because, I just never listened to it. And the other night I hit play, I found it, and I was at dinner with my 20-year-old daughter and my husband. We were sitting around the dining room table. And I said, oh, let's hear this. And I hit play and our jaws dropped to the floor. My daughter said, oh my gosh, Mom, that was so bad. Who is that? And please tell me he's no longer involved in politics. I said, not only is he still involved in politics, he leads the Arizona Republican Party. And she looked at me and said, Mom, you got to do something about this. Please tell me you're going to do something about this so that that man is not in charge of our great Republican Party. And so with my daughter's urging, I said, I'm going to put this out. It has to be out. People have to know what kind of person this is.
It's an extraordinary episode. I covered politics a long time, never seen anything like that. And having that audio just makes it very clear. There's not any doubt what was going on in that tape. Now, Carrie, I want to ask about the state of the Republican Party, because as Donald Trump puts his grip on the nomination, he's going to get it now. You begin to see all the other people in the party get behind him. Watching Tim Scott and Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis all together. The party's going to come together. In Arizona, there's still a challenge, right? There's still the factions of the Trumps and the McCainiacs and all that. How does Arizona unite so that there's only one enemy, and that's the Democratic Party?
That's right. Well, Arizona, in my opinion, is the most gorgeous state in the entire country. It's beautiful from north to south, east to west, but it's also incredibly corrupt. And we got to have some fighters who are willing to take punches and root that out. And we know how our elections are being run here. It's very corrupt. It's not going to be easy. This next year is going to be a battle. But the grassroots are winning. We, the people of Arizona, are winning, and we're waking up. And so we're going to fight really hard. We're going to make sure now that that Jeff has resigned, that I hope that, as a matter of fact, Saturday, they have a statewide meeting for the GOP, and I hope that they get somebody good in there who's ethical and willing to fight and make sure that we're set up for an honest election, and we're set up over the next 10 months to take on this critical election going forward.
So important.
Yeah. Carrie, quickly before we go, we got about 20 seconds left. Can you quantify the margin of fraud that you have to get outside of to win? Because we know that the election isn't fixed in Arizona.
Well, I was up in the polls by 10 and 12 points before, and that's why they had to do what they did in broad daylight. I mean, everyone was like, whoa, this is really brazen. Right. But the good thing is that I've been fighting. I continue to fight, and we have woken up the people as to how they're doing this. So we're going to keep going. I've got my court case moving, and we're just not going to let up until we get on this election.
Good for you, Scott. Carrie. Man, your integrity, your grit, your tenacity, just that fighting spirit is so inspiring to many generations of Americans. We appreciate you being here. All right, everybody, John and I have to take another brief commercial break. Before we do that, John has another exclusive offer from Tax Network. Check it out, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hello, America. A couple days ago, we did an incredible interview with a brilliant naturopathic Dr. Holly Lucille. Dr. Lucille covered the 5 key liver functions that affect how we look and how we feel. These include weight management, energy levels, cholesterol, hormone health, and brain health. Then she revealed how many Americans are struggling with a condition called fatty liver. Fatty liver is a silent health threat affecting 100 million Americans and can be a common cause of weight gain and feeling tired all the time. So if you think your liver might be a little sluggish, you should really check out Liver Health Formula. Liver Health Formula is doctor approved and manufactured right here in the good old USA. It contains natural ingredients like artichoke extract, turmeric, and beetroot, which support all aspects of liver health. And as a listener of the show, you can try Liver Health Formula at no risk today, and you'll get a free bottle of nano-powered omega-3 with your order. So head over to liverhelp.com/justnews, liverhelp.com/justnews to try Liver Health Formula today. Welcome back, America. We talk a lot about legal disputes on this show, but this time we're going to bring one that's really, truly a constitutional clash. The Texas governor has doubled down on border invasion declaration, his border invasion declaration, after the Supreme Court issued a 5-4 decision against Texas, clearing a way for the Border Patrol to remove razor wire installed by Texas along the U.S.-Mexico border. Since then, Governors Kemp, DeSantis, and others have supported the state of Texas and Governor Abbott's measures to protect his state from illegal immigration. Joining us now, the man who's going to inherit that constitutional clash and fight it out in the courts, Texas's great Attorney General, Ken Paxton. General Paxton, great to have you on the show, sir.
Well, great to be on again. Wish we had a Supreme Court that would allow the state of Texas to continue to protect, and we're hoping that as we move on, they'll see the light and realize the damage that's being done by the Biden administration.
Yeah, this is such an extraordinary moment, and I think people are watching all across the country. All of our hopes are on this Texas case. So the Supreme Court's ruled. A lot of people think, well, doesn't that end it? But you have done a good job, I think, explaining to folks that this is not the end. There's a way to come at this from a constitutional angle. Tell us what is next in the legal battle.
So, look, the Supreme Court basically just got rid of the injunction that had been put in place by the Fifth Circuit, stopping the Biden administration from coming on to our property and cutting down fences and wire without our permission, obviously. And so the case now goes back to the Fifth Circuit to make a ruling. We still have to go through the trial at the trial court level, so it's not over yet. And on top of that, we have other cases that we're fighting, including the one related to Shelby Park, where the governor's taken over that park and not allowed the Border Patrol to use that as a launching point for illegal immigration. And we also have a new law coming into place in I think, March that will allow us to deport illegal immigrants that come into the state that the state gets a hold of.
Yeah. Huge stuff.
Yeah. I predict more fire coming when that goes into effect, sir. I wanted to ask you, though, about the constitutional side of things, because obviously, that is the supreme law of the land. It is our guiding document. And there are a lot of folks out there who I think are trying to play the devil's advocate, and they say, well, it's kind of a slippery slope. It's dangerous if a state doesn't like a Supreme Court ruling, so they decide to defy it. And I agree, that is a slippery slope. But I don't, and I want to ask you this because you are the legal mind here. I don't think that Governor Greg Abbott is defying a Supreme Court ruling. It seems to me that the Supreme Court vacated an injunction against the federal government. That's not the same thing, is it?
No, there's a couple of things. One is that we're talking about an injunction. Second, all they did was say that the injunction is gone, so that supposedly the feds can cut down wire, but that doesn't mean we have to help them or that we're going to allow them onto our property to do it. So we're not defying anything. They didn't order us to do anything. We sued them for cutting down our wire. We got an injunction stopping it. All that means is the injunction's not there right now. It doesn't mean the fight's over. And we also have additional provisions in the U.S. Constitution that I think protect us that say basically if the federal government's not doing their job as it relates to an invasion, the state has the right to defend themselves. And so even if as we know, the Biden administration is not defending the border. They are not defending the citizens of this country. They're partnering with the cartels to allow all kinds of bad people to come in here, including terrorists. Well, guess what? We will defend ourselves just like the founders would have during their time if they were being attacked in Florida by pirates, which they did.
Yeah, such a great point. An enormous outpouring of support, General, from governors DeSantis, Youngkin, Kemp, Stitt in Oklahoma, Noem in South Dakota. This is larger than Texas in terms of the ability of a state to defend its right to defend itself, right? That's why so many of the governors are coming along your side.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because I think it's sending a message to our court system, the Supreme Court included. It's sending a message to Congress, hey, these states, they're going to stand together and fight, even if the federal government is working with the cartels, even if they're promoting, every effort of the cartels to move their drugs into the state of Texas and in our country, even if they're working with them to bring as many illegals through this country as possible. The states are saying, no, we're not putting up with it. We created the federal government, and we're going to stop this.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I think we're up to 18 or 19 states that have now expressed solidarity with the state of Texas, so that's a great thing to see. Sarah, I wanted to ask you about the political side of this for the Biden administration. It seems to me that, much like the economy, there's not really a soft landing. There's not a great option. If they don't do anything, if they just allow the razor wire to persist, they look impotent, they look like they didn't mean what they said. But if they send federal agents down there, Border Patrol agents, to cut the wire as people are flooding into the country, that's terrible optics as well.
I agree with you. It was terrible. This is a lawsuit that I saw during the summer coming. I had that suspension period that was crazy, but I saw it and I came back and told my staff, this cannot be allowed. We cannot let the federal government just cut the wire in front of us and not do anything about it. And so now people are more aware of it. And as soon as they cut more down, they're going to get caught on camera. And the people of this country and these governors and other political leaders in Congress are going to see how insanely bad this is and how bad it is for the safety of our country.
Yeah, so important. And so you've done a lot to move this narrative, to educate the whole country what Texas has been through the last 3 years. Obviously, everyone feels it, but Texas is the front line, the front border. There is evidence now in the polling that as far away as New Hampshire and Iowa, that people understand that this immigration battle is the most important issue, even more important than a rickety economy. How rewarding is it to know that people around the country are resonating about the warnings you've given? And then two, how do you use that political support to get what needs to be done?
Well, look, I'm grateful because we started talking about this on day one when Joe Biden said he wasn't going to deport anybody. So, as you know, I've talked to you and Amanda so many times, I don't even know how many it is. But, yeah, I'm grateful that people have gotten the message. It is affecting Joe Biden in his race for president. And he is, I think, nervous about the consequences now, not because he thinks it's wrong to let the cartels bring these people in our country and transport all these, criminals. He's worried about his election, and that may be in the end what causes him to lose the election, because now it's hard to walk back after 3.5 years of devastating ignoring of federal law and helping the cartels. It's hard to walk that back in just a few months before the election, and I think the consequences will likely be in November when Joe Biden gets wiped out by President Trump.
Yeah.
That's right. Mr. Attorney General, this issue of illegal immigration affects all 50 states. It affects all financial demographics, all racial demographics, all age demographics, especially with respect to fentanyl crossing our border. And just this week, legendary comedian Dana Carvey, his 32-year-old son, died from an overdose of cocaine and ketamine, which, of course, in large amounts can be fatal. But it was the introduction of fentanyl into that potent cocktail that ultimately killed him. Again, this is something that affects all Americans, especially what we saw in New Hampshire. Is that going to be the driving force behind illegal immigration being the number one issue for voters?
I think it is. I have so many friends that have kids that have died just that way. Not that particular drug, but they were laced with fentanyl and they didn't know it. And these kids are dead.
Right.
And I know too many families just like that. And so I think that's the issue that I think Americans are going to really care about, losing kids unnecessarily because the Biden administration has allowed this.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. So we got about a minute left. I wanted to ask about the consequences to Mayorkas. For the first time, Congress is going to draft impeachment articles against a Homeland Security Secretary. First time in 150 years against any cabinet secretary. How important is it for Texas that those impeachment articles pass the House?
Look, I think it's really important. This guy has not just not done his job. It's not like it's just incompetence. He has affirmatively helped the criminal cartels in Mexico and the Chinese get their drugs through this country. And that sounds really extreme, but look at what they've done. They are the people that the cartels are bringing to the border by the thousands every day and by the millions every year, they're not hiding from the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol, under Mayorkas' control, is being told, you help them get across. They're not told to like catch them anymore. People used to hide. They don't hide anymore.
Right.
And so I think the fact that this guy has not just ignored his constitutional role and his statutory roles, he's literally helping the cartels bring horrible problems to our country.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. General Paxton, we are so grateful for your time and all you're doing to protect all of us in this nation. This battle in Texas is actually a national battle. Great to have you on, sir. We look forward to having you on again real soon. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, some more discussion, this time about health. We'll have that right after these great messages from our sponsors, advertisers, and partners here at Real America's Voice. Welcome back, America. Everybody's who's watched the show knows the last year I've really focused on my health. And of course, one of my great partners in this is the Field of Greens product. It really has made a difference. I wasn't taking enough veggie and fruits in my diet, just too busy to do it. Boom, I take a scoop, put it in a shake, put it on my salad. All of a sudden, my friends at Brickhouse Nutrition made me a much healthier and, by the way, lighter and more energetic guy. And I'm really excited about that. They've now added a second product to my routine. I'm trying to get a little more weight off me. It's called Lean, and it helps suppress your cravings and turn your stress-stored fat into energy and weight loss. It is working. I love this, and I wanted everybody to get a understanding of what it does, how it works. Miles Gammard, the CEO of our sponsor, Brickhouse Nutrition, he agreed to join us tonight to give us a quick update. Miles, great to see you.
Good to see you too, John. And Amanda, thanks for having me back.
All right. Amanda and I are on the Field of Greens. We love it. Now I got Lean going. I'm starting to see the weight come off quicker. And another thing, I didn't understand this. I'm really doing the research alongside of what I'm learning from you guys. Stress can cause weight gain. I never would have guessed that, but it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the biggest factors that is involved in weight gain. So the Lean product, Mike, he put a ton of effort into tackling each angle of what can cause weight gain, from the stress that you mentioned, which is one of the biggest. And he did a lot of research in finding ways to reduce the stress and turn that, like you said, into a way to lose weight. And also appetite suppression. And the way the Lean works is it's 4 different main angles that it attacks each one. And it's a product that, unlike, taking needles and a lot of stuff, it's something worth trying before you go to the extremes. And it's a pretty amazing product.
Yeah, it really is.
Miles, I want to ask you about the age-old story of a man and a woman, a husband and a wife going on a diet. The man goes on a diet within a week. It's like he lost a toddler. And for the female, it's like she's just peeling off layers of an onion. Does this work the same for women too?
Yeah, it definitely works for women too. Actually, I think most of our reviews are from women right now. And I think this is something that at Brickhouse as a company we're trying to hit. Is everyone right now, it's the new year, new you type of thing, and everyone's thinking about their investments. They're investing in gold. Can I buy a new boat this year? Have fun. And we're trying to hit that. Nothing's quite as fun as unless you're feeling your best, putting the right things in your body, whether that is the fruits and vegetables, your vitamins, and being thinner. I mean, if you're out there right now, is a great time to go skiing. If you're out there skiing and you're the one that has to, after 2 runs, go sit in the lounge while your buddies are out there skiing, it's more fun to be out there, a little more fit, going down, and you just feel so much better. Like, try feeling good.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we're really aiming at. Let people know what it feels like to feel good, and it's a small investment.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And I'm a science nerd, so I was really, before I started, I want to understand what it does. And one of the things I didn't understand, that the stress cycle, the chemical reaction that stress creates in this, is that you start retaining fat. And what Lean does is it attacks the fatty acids, right, and makes them easier to digest. And all of a sudden, you're losing weight. But I've noticed something in addition to the weight loss, and that is the little crunchy cravings that I get, like I got to hit a candy bar, I got to hit it,
right.
They're gone. Can you explain why that happened, or am I just lucky?
No, that's actually, that's definitely part of it. We are the first ones it actually comes from an orange peel. And Mike, we're the first ones, it was It's kind of off the market for a while, and we're in with the people that did all the clinical studies with it, and we're the first ones to put it back into this product, which it curbs your appetite. So that craving you get for the sugars and when you're stress eating, if you will, that little orange peel will take away that need or the desire to eat as much. You always kind of feel satiated when, rather than going and hitting the snack bar, you can sit there and still feel good.
Isn't that something?
That's awesome.
Not an accident.
Miles, so often with products like this, whether it's something that has caffeine in it or ephedra, I think ephedra has been banned, but anyway, there's always jitters associated. Does this come with jitters?
No, it definitely should not. There is a small amount of caffeine, not enough to create the jitters. And the reason that there's caffeine in a lot of weight loss, it's not ephedrine, which is pretty crazy product ingredient that a lot of people did wonders, but it got pulled because people abused it and were dying.
Yeah.
But you want to increase the metabolism. One of the quickest ways when you take the product, there's other things in there that increase the metabolism well, is that little bit of caffeine is going to get your metabolism rocking. Just like a cup of coffee in the morning, kind of satiate you for a little bit.
Yeah.
Having a little bit of caffeine in there is good for you.
Yeah, no, that it is. Here you can see the bottle. So I have a routine now. I used to take my scoop of Field of Greens in the morning. I moved that tonight. I take lean in the morning, 3 pills of lean in the morning, or 3 capsules of lean in the morning, and then at night I come back and do my thing. That combination is not only an energy burster for me, but weight gain, and I notice better sleeping. Is that the best way if you're going to use both products? Is that a good way to approach it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's great. What you're doing, I'd stick with it.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so go ahead. You got one more, Amanda, please.
Miles, I know you guys have a few other items in your product line. Can you tell our audience about those?
Oh, yeah, we have quite a few. I guess like I've said on the show before, is there are certain products like protein, and we don't sell that because we can't make a better one. There's other companies you can buy protein from. Anything that you find on Brickhouse is because Dr. Kim and the team of doctors have found a way to make the product better. Like you see the multivitamin right there.
Yeah.
That's an amazing product. It's all extracted vitamins, all natural, 100% natural vitamins from plants and everything like that. Our Radiance is one of the best. It's a collagen product derived from 4 different sources of collagen. The main one there is a bovine collarbone, actually, and there's a ton of clinical studies on that and the reason it works best. And you can just read the reviews on all these products. Just today, we launched 4 more flavors of our amino acids. It's the best tasting amino acids out there. Again, the science team is amazing here at Brickhouse. Yep. And if it's on our site, it's because it's the best.
Well, you've done something great for us. You've given us an easy website, particularly if you want to try lean. TakeLean.com. Use the promo code JustNews15. You're going to get a huge discount thanks to the generosity of Miles and his great team there. It really works. No jitters, and it's got a science behind it. That's what I love. All right, folks.
Welcome back, everybody. Don't blink or you're going to miss this last block. That's because we had such amazing guests tonight that we kept extending our blocks. First up, Congressman Barry Loudermilk. John, this is a man who has faced headwinds every step of the way when it comes to getting to the truth. Your top lines about it.
Well, listen, I think both Kari Lake and Barry Loudermilk are in a pursuit for the truth, and every time they dig for it, they get a little bit more resistance, whether it's that bribery conversation or an offer of money, or Loudermilk getting redacted documents, or the rope-a-dope, or crickets, like he said, crickets. But these are 2 determined Republicans that are going to get the American people what went on in Arizona and what went on at the January 6th committee that we weren't told. And I think that's a benefit to everyone in this country, no matter your political stripe. We just want facts so we can make a better decision. They're in the pursuit of facts right now.
Yeah, and Kari Lake she's such a brand. She's America first. She loves this country. She supports President Trump, which the left and the Uniparty absolutely despise. But she's young and she's vibrant. She is everything they hate about her because she has longevity. President Trump for all the amazing stuff he's done. This could, if he wins, will be his last term. He's getting up there in age. She is the new generation of America First folks coming forward, and she's all about the truth. I mean, that audio recording was incredible because she said, "I am not on the menu. I'm not viable. There is no dollar amount." I think she said, 2 million, 3 million, $1 billion. I wouldn't take it because this is about our country. And I think that's what most Americans admire about her. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night because we have Victor Davis Hanson joining us for a special 20-minute conversation about the state of American politics, the future of our nation's history. and much more pertaining to the 2024 and beyond. So don't miss out on that, 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Good night. God bless.
So when they talk about equity, they don't talk about building people up. They talk about bringing people down to the lowest level, so everyone has an equal outcome. Everyone sucks.
If there was any doubt, at this point we know Mayor Pete is not the right man for the job.
Not that I would ever do this. I could be a better spokesperson for Joe Biden if I was to just sell my soul to the devil than they are. I know their own talking points better than they do.
Real America's Voice is a news platform dedicated to keeping people informed.
Your CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, these guys are gangsters. They're global gangsters.
Headlines from here in the U.S. and around the globe.
And the reality. So Lori Lightfoot lost her re-election yesterday, and she lost it badly.
Full coverage of live events.
Bringing thousands of bottles of water, Trump water, actually, most of it.
Real news, honest views, real